Hello, happy hump day, and thank you for tuning in to an all new episode of Stop Faking It with me, your host, Emily Bracy. It's still, oh no, it's not February. I almost said it's still February. It is March. Holy cow. And
Yeah.
we are still talking to comedians. I've had so much fun doing this. I kind of want to continue it for a couple more months. So maybe this is just a comedy podcast now, and that's totally okay. So a few years ago, I saw Alana Glazer perform stand-up in Tampa. And even before Alana was on stage, I was laughing so hard and obsessing over her opener, Amber Joy Layne. So I immediately followed Amber on Instagram, been obsessed with her ever since.
Mm.
She's in Miami, so she's another Florida girl. She's a comedian, actress, dancer, and writer. She's hot as fuck and a 5'1" ball of positivity and energy. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you for having me. What a fun
I'm
intro. I was like, that's me? That's
that
me
is
too.
you. That is
Yeah.
you, girlfriend. I am so happy to have you on.
I've
Um,
been listen, I had followed your page for years. And so that first comment or follow that
yeah.
day, Milana, I was like, I told my mom, I was like, I made it. This is the coolest. This is the coolest account to ever follow me. My mom's like, which one? And I was like, hoes give no fucks.
I love it. I was
She's
so
like, I'm
excited
very
too.
happy for you, honey.
I looked at your page and I was like, oh my God, she follows me. And I
Of
was like, and she's
course.
in
Of
Miami. This is
course. It's
great.
what I send to the group chat. 99. That is my
Yes.
contribution to the group chat
I love it.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
They're always like, saw it. I'm like, cool.
Instagram was like, you can't be called Ho Gives No Fucks anymore because no one's going to see your posts. And I was like,
They
oh,
literally told you that?
in
I was
some sort of way. Yeah.
the rebrand thing came from. They're like, wow, interesting.
Yeah. So that was really,
All I
I
see
almost
on
had like an
Instagram
identity
is
crisis.
OnlyFans content, like all the time now. So
100%. I don't
all
know.
I see is jiggle it, jiggle it, jiggle it, jiggle it. And I'm like, but the word hose give no fucks is a problem.
I know.
Okay.
I'm like, is it the hoe or is it the fuck? Because a lot of them names have fucks in them,
I
but
could
also, what is a
change.
hoe but a gardening tool?
That's true.
What is
That's
it?
true.
Maybe it's a gardening fanatic page. I
Yeah,
should change it because I still have the handle on like just a burner page. I should change it to just like a gardening page,
why not? You already have,
a
yeah.
gardening page. But how are you doing, girlfriend?
I'm so good. I'm
Good.
good and happy. That was about a year ago exactly.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it?
Yes,
Isn't that
exactly.
cool? Do you remember that theater? That's like one of my favorite theaters.
Listen, the full circle moment I had at that theater was so special because when I was 15 years old, I
Hmm.
was a Florida thespian, a little
Ooh.
in my acting school in Miami,
Hmm.
and we had this scene that we had done in our local district, and we had won like for our entire city, and we were getting to perform in that theater
Oh
for
my
all the
gosh.
acting kids
How
in
old were
Florida.
you again?
15.
Wow,
So here
that's
it
so
is,
cool.
15 years later, literally
Oh my
like I
gosh.
just turned 30,
Yeah,
about to, and then I'm on that stage by myself, being like, you know what? Like this was already written,
yeah,
it was already written for me. And then also her introducing me,
yeah.
wild. I mean, wild. I had never performed for more than like 200 people, and that
No
theater was
way.
1200. Yeah, it was 1200 people.
You were like, you do this every day.
Oh my God, no, it was so, I just came in, I just felt safe from the beginning because I was
Yeah,
like, I know her audience is
yeah.
me. So it
Yes.
wasn't like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of men that I have to worry about making
Hmm.
laugh. I just already knew that everyone was going to be there to support. There was
Yeah,
no judgment. It's her crowd. So
100%.
couldn't have asked for a better experience. It was insane. I just did her show, and even though it was 1,800 people, which was a
Yeah,
lot more, energy wasn't the same.
yeah.
Florida is just, I feel like
Interesting.
Florida's just bigger, wilder, more
Oh,
outgoing, and
yeah.
Denver was a little bit more like,
Yeah, I totally get
like,
that.
yeah, no,
That's
it's
so
just different.
great. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so cool how you had that full circle moment. How
Why?
unreal.
It was.
Before I get in where I start picking your brain about your career and comedy, I have something that I want to put out into the open.
That's
Well,
it.
going back to your show, I love that you go by the dancing comedian because you're just like, you wear so many hats, you know? Love watching your dancing videos. I remember one of the jokes you told was about how nice your calves were, and you called them edamame legs. hilarious. But I
Thank
do have to say, there might be one person in this world who has nicer calves than you. And I know
you.
she listens to my podcast, and it is my
Oh,
mother.
oh,
She is not a dancer, but she is a Sicilian woman.
I was gonna say
So
the
I'll have
genetic.
to, yes, I didn't get them though. This was
You
sad about
did.
it. No, I didn't. No,
I got my
sadly.
mom's calves and her boobs, which
Yeah.
was would have traded,
I
but
didn't get the boobs either.
oh, that what I should
So
do.
I know I'll have to, I'm my dad's daughter.
You got your dad's
I am a
boobs.
tall, pasty gal. That is what I am. But I'll have to, I don't know, we'll have to like swap calf pics or do a side by side.
I don't know. We might get flagged. Those shit's worth money.
I
It's
told
worth
her I was like starting only cabs.
No, for real. That was my
Money.
joke. And like, I'm not kidding you. Every post I make, there's at least one
Yeah.
comment that's
Yeah.
like, oh, your calves are so bad. My boyfriend didn't believe me. And I was like, check all of my comments. I
Yeah.
have the calf lover. I have so many
Do you
pages.
think it's like, are you like on a Reddit page or something, do you think?
Like
Because
somebody
we
tagged
were
me.
just talking about before we started recording my fashion line, and there was one day when only had like 300 followers. I just started it. And all of a sudden I had like 340, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I looked, and all the comments were when I was on the beach and I didn't have shoes on. They were all feet emojis, and I was like, "Oh no, not my target customer."
I know.
But
It's
engagement's
wild.
engagement, girlfriend.
I know. I know. Well, it's so funny though, because I posted a picture of me and my
Yeah.
boyfriend yesterday,
Hmm.
lost 300 followers in one day.
Oh, what?
One day.
I said I was married and I lost 70,000 in like 2 weeks.
I have a joke that I'm like, I don't know what's more depressing, the fact that these random lonely men thought that they had a chance with me and are jealous, or that I
Yeah.
thought men were following me for my comedy. Like,
No, honestly, wait. I posted, and not really like a thirst trap because I was in like a cat suit, but they were like these cool boudoir pictures I did a few years ago. And I posted one yesterday on my personal page. And like to me, I was like, oh, this is very thirst trappy for me. And I lost 3 followers. I was like,
people are
I
so like,
thought it's the opposite. Like I did this to get followers. And
it's
three
so
people
funny.
out there were
And
like,
you lose it.
no.
You post a sexy pic and you lose pictures. That's funny. Followers. That's so
Followers.
funny. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot for me to unfollow a page.
I
So
know.
it really does. That's why every day when I check my metrics and they're like, you lost 60, you lost 60, I'm like, I hope these must have been fake to begin with. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm doing to piss this many people off. I didn't even do anything.
By being happy.
But that's true. That is a big one.
It's
People
your
don't like,
happiness. And
yeah.
congrats on the boyfriend
Oh,
too.
thank
I
you.
loved seeing the picture that you posted. It was so cute.
Yeah, I mean, it's been funny how much my comedy is now like
Yeah.
shifting. I mean, not that I have to, like he doesn't care
Mhm.
what I say, but I
Yeah.
feel like out of respect. And also it's just challenging me to think a little bit more
Yeah.
outside of this 20s period that I
Yeah.
was in. I mean, as you know, there's just so much comedy within female and our connection to sexuality
Yeah.
that it's not that it's low hanging fruit, because men always, I hate that trope that men say, oh,
Mhm.
women can only make jokes about sex in their bodies. I'm like, there's just so much going on. If
Yeah.
you had any of this stuff happening, you'd also bet you have time to think about history and science and my
The
body.
Roman Empire.
Exactly. Of course, you have time on your hands. Or my brain is 99% of the time being like, what skincare do I need? What new beauty product is out? This weird dude is not, there's just so
What
much.
is my car trying to tell me with all these hieroglyphics popping up? I don't know. I don't have time for that.
I know. So I am trying to evolve into a new category, which, to be honest, most people who go to comedy clubs are relationship, they're
It
couples.
is true. Yeah, now that
So
I think about it.
so there's lots, and like there's lots to just tap into. I just have to experience it.
Hmm.
And I mean, knock on wood, my boyfriend's so great. He hasn't really given me any material yet. I'm like, all right, when are you gonna do something fucked up? I need a joke.
I know. Wait, come on, dude, do this. I remember one time, after my husband and I, we started living together when we were dating, and I posted a meme about like the way I feel after like my significant other like loads the dishwasher incorrectly or something like that. And he like came up to me and he goes, "You could have just told me." And I was like, "No, wait, but like I just fixed it and like I don't really mean it, but it was just like inspiration for a meme that I know is relatable." I was like,
That's
why did You just tell me.
But you were like trying to like passive aggressively get your point across?
A little bit, always.
Okay. Smart.
Yeah.
So
So
you met him while you were already doing your meme page?
I did, yes. Yeah,
And he
we
was like
from the same
totally like
hometown.
cool with it. He was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And you're like,
Yeah, no, I think he kind of knew already just because like of common friends. Like we grew up in the same hometown. And
"Oh,
then really just like after he got to know me, he was like, well, he was like slutty too. So that was something we bonded over. And then we both were like, we're tired. Could we stop being slutty and just stay together and get married one day? And I was like, okay.
oh, I
What
love
what a love story to tell the kids one
that."
day.
Disney should just really copy your
I
your whole
know.
life.
I swear that was like right after, probably like actually a month after we started dating. Um, One day he just came home and he had like a Keurig in his kitchen that I put there because he didn't have coffee maker, and I made like copies of his key for myself. And I was like, so I live here now. He
You
like
made a
didn't know
good
what to
point.
do.
A
He's
good
like,
point.
well, he goes,
Now
I
I
like
have
that
coffee.
you tell me what you're thinking. He's like, a lot of girls I talked to didn't do that. And I was like, oh, I'll tell you, all right.
Yeah, either directly or via meme. So,
Via memes, check the memes, bro.
okay.
Um, I want to pick your brain about your career. Is that okay? All
Yeah,
right.
of
I saw
course.
you went to the New World School in Arts. Is that the school in Miami you were talking about?
Yeah, the high school.
Okay, so you have just been performing since the beginning. Tell me about that. You came out dancing?
Yeah, basically. Well, yeah, yeah. Dan. My parents are both in the business.
Oh,
They met in
sick.
film school in University of Miami. Um, so I mean, I really didn't have an option. My grandpa's like, he was a marketing writer. My grandma was an actress and a
Oh, no
radio
way.
host. Yeah. So
That's
there
so
was just,
cool.
and my other grandma helped run a dance school. Like it was just, there was no doctor or scientist in this
Yeah,
family.
I love
Um,
it.
None. And I started in piano and then it wasn't really, it was too like facing the away from the
Yeah.
audience. It's like, I don't like this.
Like,
And so
what are
they,
they looking at?
yeah,
Not me.
no, yeah, I mean, I'm an only child, so it's very
Okay.
only child, but like the good kind,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never would have guessed it.
really.
That's how like my
Yeah.
best friend is too. Yeah, she's an only child, and everyone's like, you are. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, because I think there's always say there's two ways that you can learn from being an only child, either how to
Mhm.
take, or how to give, because my parents gave me so much,
Yeah.
and that's how I feel. I just feel like I am like I am armed with like the ability to give a lot of energy. People are always like, where do you get all your energy from? And that's
Yeah.
like, just because I've just always done the things that made me happy.
Yeah.
From the beginning, I always found a way to get into the school play or get into this dance thing. And so,
You
yeah,
worked hard for it.
yeah, I went to performing arts middle school for dance, and then I
Okay.
switched to acting for high school.
So how
And
was that experience? Because I just went to like a plain public school and barely can spell now at 31. Was like so dance and stuff was like incorporated into the curriculum?
yeah, so middle
That's
school, I had
so
like
cool.
3 hours of dance a day.
Oh, wow.
And then it was instead of like PE,
Okay.
or like home ec or whatever they taught.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the electives were. Fucking Spanish, which I didn't learn, and I needed to
And
have.
you live
But
in Miami.
I know. I'm like, I can salsa, but I cannot
Papi
speak the
chulo.
language. Exactly.
That's
I'm
all
like,
I
oh,
know.
delicious, but that's it.
Quiero
Um,
Taco Bell. That's all I
yeah,
got.
they're like, okay, gringa. Yeah, so dance was just built into the curriculum. And then in high school, the school I went to, you had to audition to get in.
Mhm.
And so everybody came to school with this like the fame, like
Yeah.
literally like fame school or glee. Everyone was just excited to come. Like I had to get on a train to get to school every day. So I woke up at like
This
5.
is a movie.
I know. And I would even get earlier because I just wanted to like hang with my friends or work on the scene that we
You
were
were
doing.
excited like to go to school.
I loved it.
Oh, that's
Honestly,
awesome.
the transition after high school was like the roughest for me coming
Wow. Okay.
performing at school because it was like such a bubble
Oh,
of
okay.
kids who knew what they wanted to do
Hmm.
and just passion, and then getting out and like realizing how many like kind of normal people there are.
Yeah.
Like people without interest, without drive, without like they just want to get fucked up, and like
Yeah.
I was like it was a very like whoa because
Like,
I'd
wait,
been.
you don't want to get in the car and drive around and sing show tunes all night? What are you talking about?
Exactly. I mean, we're like, I always joke that if I'm glad it wasn't around, but if TikTok and Instagram were
Ooh,
around in my
yes.
childhood, I would have totally been doing all of that. I was,
Hmm.
I was for my friends, just in a different way. I was always the girl with the camera
Yeah.
that I was filming everybody on our trips and then making a 12-minute video compilation. Of
We are the same. I was making trailers of me and my movie trailers. My friends and I were doing music videos and stuff.
course, I had
So
so many
fun.
music videos that we were doing that like took enough time and energy from me, but
Yeah.
not to the point where I I am now, like
Yeah.
just completely addicted and like
We
I
didn't
needed
have the bills and taxes back then as children. That's
it's
that's where the happiness came from.
That's so true. And I just feel like I was more people like I don't think I could have gotten to where I am, and comedy takes so much confidence. And
Yeah.
I think my confidence grew from like not having these um examples of beauty so close. Like there were
Mhm.
celebrities and then there were normal people.
Yeah.
And there wasn't this like, oh, you're an influencer, you're a normal person, but you're
Hmm.
also like a your production. We think that they're influencers and they're just normal like us. It's not
Yeah.
true. They have production. And so I feel
Yeah.
like now the younger girls, even though they're all beautiful, they have
Yeah.
the confidence because they're so much more self-aware of their eyebrows.
Which is bizarre. Like they should be focusing on singing show tunes in the
Developing
car.
personality. That's why I joke. It's like middle school is a time where you're supposed to be ugly so you can focus on your personality. And like,
That's what I did.
yeah, that's what I would say. I was like, if I was pretty all along, I would never been funny. And it took a long time for me to like physically match my internal like
Yeah.
evidence, actually. I was a chunky girl my whole life. Not more than chunky. I was like 40 pounds more than this
Yeah.
for until like 24. It's
Okay.
as a dancer
I was
too.
about to say as a dancer, that must have like
Rough.
I'm
Rough.
just I'm thinking, yeah, people are awful.
Yes.
I lost a bunch of weight in like 2019, 2020, and my weight really fluctuated like my whole life. And being on Instagram and like I was anonymous for so long because of that. Because one time I remember one time I posted like a video of like my ankles or my feet or something, just like in the background, and someone was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was following like a fat influencer." And I'm like, first of all, I'm not an influencer. I'm a memer. Second of all, like rude.
A man, of
Of,
course.
of course, yeah. But it's funny that you were talking about like being glad that TikTok and all that wasn't around. And probably like 6 months ago, I went through my Instagram feed and we were just talking about not being able to unfollow people. But I did. I unfollowed accounts that didn't make me feel good about myself. Whenever I'd look at something, even if they were a great person, I wish them the best. But maybe there was a message that was somehow subconsciously like triggering me. And just like a couple of weeks ago, I said like to my husband or like my friend, and I was like, I really, I thought I was like losing weight, like I look good. I haven't been going to the gym, and I was like, wow, like I like looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like saying kinder things to myself, and I realized it's because I'm not comparing myself to strangers. Like it was that simple. And so I too love that we didn't grow up with that.
And that's why I am a proponent. I don't know what the word is. I am want to protect the in-person experience so
Yeah.
much because the way I feel on stage versus a video, you'll see I don't make content. I don't.
Yeah.
I like capture what I do out in
You're
the
too
world.
busy, girlfriend.
I know. But I like capturing what I do in the world and then putting it on this like visual resume thing to share it. But
Mhm.
I don't like creating things because I find if I'm just in my room trying to do a simple fucking content
Mhm.
reel, it'll take me the whole day.
Yeah.
I'm watching every single thing I do, I'm criticizing it to the max.
Mhm.
But when I'm on stage, that's why sometimes I don't even like watching the videos after a show because
Yeah.
I felt so good with it. And then I watch the video and I'm like, criticizing every single part of me. And so you're right. When you're not, and it's all about just comparison and being able to obsess over this visual component as
Filters
opposed to the
too.
and the filters. Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
I love some sparkle around my face, but like don't change my bone structure.
no. Well, and that's just a whole other category. I was trying to write some material today, and I was just thinking about how I hate how overwhelming it is the amount of options we have to
Mhm.
change your face.
Yes.
It's literally it's such a foreign concept to like our
Hmm.
moms and like like nobody can guide us on this. I'm like
Mm-mm.
an interior designer. I need like tell me what to do. I don't want to do too much. I don't want to do it wrong. I want to do the right for my age to protect, because I don't want to be 45 and being like, oh, I wish I had done this before it's now
Yeah.
set wrong. But I also, I love being an authentic person. I
Hmm.
don't, and I'm in Miami, so every single girl now has the same face.
Yeah.
And I want to protect, I like my face. I just
It's
want to,
beautiful.
thank you. I want to keep it. I want to keep it as long as I can, especially as, the shit I do on film and commercials.
Hmm.
This is like, if I age out of that, money, right?
Yeah.
It's just that men cannot possibly understand. It's like, okay, you're getting a car and you can have all of the additional things. You're gonna fuck it. You're gonna make it too much. We
Yeah.
shouldn't have as many options. I was thinking, like
100%.
in a frozen yogurt place, you can't give me unlimited toppings.
No.
Give me three,
Give me
because I will
three.
fuck it up. I will be like sour gummy worms and dulce de leche. That sounds good. No, it won't be.
It depends on how
Limit.
high you are.
Exactly. But we need limits. It's just overwhelming being a woman. And that's something I know I'm like taking over because,
No, I love it.
okay. Like what I so aligned with what you do and what I would like to do is like, if I could only do comedy for women,
Yeah.
only ever, I'd be happy. I don't need to make men laugh. There's
Yeah.
just no part of me that's like, I need to impress a man. And there's just, I feel like the only reason why I want to do art in general, not just, comedy, dance, everything that I do isn't just about entertaining. It's
Hmm.
about healing,
Yeah.
making people feel better. That's why my comedy's not mean. That's why I don't do this
It's
Matt
not,
Rife
no.
comedy. That's not, and there's some really popular comedians in Miami that kind of everybody in Miami harps on that because it
Yeah.
has this like, it's a nasty energy city sometimes. It's
Yeah.
judgmental, critical. That's just not me. It doesn't feel good
Hmm.
to to insult somebody, even if they're coming for me in the audience, which rarely happens. People don't really heckle me because I they can't really find
Yeah.
some,
They're like, damn, she's so positive. Fuck her.
right. I mean, I feel like, ugh.
I'm trying to find this message I got from a man on Instagram 2 days ago. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Your comedy posts went from mid to actually funny now. I'm happy to see you getting better at what you enjoy.
Leave it to a man to somehow try take just, he couldn't just give the compliment. He
Yeah.
had to frame it within a judgmental space of I am a fucking connoisseur critic of comedy and I am assessing that you, but good for you.
Yeah,
That's
I thought you would enjoy that. I didn't answer him. I was like, if I answer, I'm gonna say something sassy and then I'm gonna lose a follower, which is fine, but like
I
we
I
all
I'll
need
never
all the help we can get.
I'll never forget, I was hosting a show in Miami and I got a message right afterwards that was
Mm.
a guy there. And he goes, hey, you were actually pretty funny tonight. Let me know if you want to come to Miami Beach and train run on you. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I was like,
It's
there
just
was so,
crazy to me from the brain to the fingers to the typing to the send. There wasn't like anything in there, like maybe not.
I was like, I just feel so, he just ruined a night that I was like,
Yeah,
I was funny.
yeah,
And in my head, I am saying actually pretty funny. But when
yeah,
other people say it, it's just like, oh, there's just the expectation right off the bat for women to
yeah,
just not be funny. And of course, we're not funny to you. We're just different.
yeah.
Our whole, for, for a woman to make a man laugh, a man has to have empathy.
That is true.
And
And
that's
yeah,
not
my I took comedy classes in Orlando with this amazing comedian and actor Ali Flores, and he always says, no one can say that that so and so isn't funny. It's just not funny to you. It's
right.
like I'm not a crazy fan of like the color orange. I'll like see it and I don't think anything bad about it, but like I prefer pink.
Right. That's a great analogy. I think it's
Yeah,
because obviously our life experience, every single person is so individual. Look at our
yeah.
faces. There's no face that's the same unless you're
No.
constructing it to. But we're coming from such different perspectives that
Hmm.
like that's a lot of times that I'm like starting to come to terms with when like I do a show and people do not laugh and there's
Hmm.
just that go, oh my God, I'm not good, blah blah blah. And they're like, that's
Hmm.
just not your audience.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, there are some masters of comedy who can make anybody laugh.
Hmm.
That's great for them. But I wonder how deeply they can make people feel when it's so generic. You
Yeah.
know, I'm okay with not making men laugh because I want to make women feel safe and
Yeah.
release shame. And there's so many subjects that a man, we can't even talk about in a room of men and women because men don't understand what melasma is, what probiotics are, what
No.
they nothing, they know
They don't even
nothing.
know where the clit is. What are we talking?
I know. We're going too deep.
I
Yeah,
know.
exactly. So that's why I want to do, I have done it once or twice,
Mhm.
where only women are allowed in the room.
Oh, cool.
And you'd be surprised. Everyone just like,
I bet it's just like
oh,
a
it's a
let
fun
go and a
hang.
huge
It's a
party.
girl hang and everyone's having a good time and they're laughing at things they wouldn't laugh in front of their boyfriend
That is
because
true.
I
Yeah.
want them to know about they had one experience with the big black dick and and the boyfriend's not gonna, yeah,
And John Smith next to him is like, what happened?
yeah. I don't
You know
need
what?
that.
One of my favorite quotes that I heard when I was like in high school, and I've never forgotten it. And it was like, you could be the or most perfect, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be someone out there who doesn't like peaches.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I like that. Well, how, so you went to school for like dance and theater, like the old thespian life. How did you get into comedy?
Oh, you're gonna love this
I can't
story.
wait.
I did it that night in the theater, so I'll see if it triggers your memory. But um only at like acting, dance, I had done a little comedy within acting, like
Hmm.
some funny characters, but writing, never written before.
Yeah.
Never saw a stand-up comedy show in
Oh,
person.
no way.
Ever. The
I
only
love
comedy
that.
special I had ever watched was Dane Cook, like everybody else.
Everyone else,
at
yeah.
that at that age. Um, and I was on Tinder,
Hmm.
and this was Tinder days, and I was so sick of the boring back and forth, hey, hi, what's up, where are you from, blah blah blah,
Hmm.
that I wrote in my profile. If you think you're a catch and we happen to match, please take the time to write me a rhyme, something creative, witty, or fun. Extra points if there's a naughty pun.
I do remember this.
Yes.
I
And so
love it.
it's a real story. I got all these poems and they were hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was just a thing I would share with my friends whenever we'd get together. They'd be like, oh my God, read us a poem. And I'm like, all right. And I
It's
and
like
I
a coffee
actually
table book. Please
I
publish.
thought about it. I thought about it. I
Not
there
too
were so
late.
many, but I just it's not my words. So I was like, can I even do
Oh,
this?
yeah.
So then I saw there was a poetry slam and I hadn't like been on stage in that capacity in a while. I was just dancing,
Hmm.
dancing, dancing, dancing. And I missed being on stage and like acting in that kind of like world. So I was like, hey, can I do poems that aren't mine? And they were like, sure. So it was a poetry slam. Didn't know it was a contest. I get picked last, like randomly. So I'm the
Yeah.
last one to go. I do these poems. I got tens across the board and I win this contest.
God.
And it's a fun, I just felt like, oh, this was like, oh, this new, this was fun, different. And then like about a month later, a guy not from Tinder invited me on a date to a comedy show.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, sure, sounds fine. We go. Everyone is so bad. It's like an open mic. It's not
Okay.
like a not
Yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah.
comedy show. There's maybe like 15 people, 20 people in the room. And everyone was so bad. That kind of bad that like I'm squirming. I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to save the energy of this room because I'm that is my like role on earth is the to be the vibe.
Yeah.
I was literally paid as a job to be an undercover dancer in a club just to give people vibe.
What a cool
Undercover.
job.
Yes, they didn't know I worked there. I was just the first one out on the dance floor to get people like going because
Oh
that
my gosh.
was the best job ever. And so I'm
That
like,
sounds great.
"Ugh, I need to do something. And then
Yeah.
my stomach is like, you can do this. Go, do it, do it, do it. And so the show ends and I raised my hand. I was like, can I go? And my date was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I think
Saving the day, baby.
and then I went up and I still had the poems in my memory. And so I just kind of riffed off of them. Like I was like, and then this guy, this poem, and then this experience. And I just kind of gave it a little bit of life. And they were like, can you come back next week? And then I was like, okay, I gotta have to start writing. And so I just kind of I was watching my stand-up last night from like way, way back. And
Yeah.
the confidence I had for the level of material was like, I mean, I just,
Disproportioned.
yeah. But like, I kind of, and I still understand now, if you have a good energy on stage,
Yeah.
people will give you an allowance on like, ha ha ha, funny. They just
Hmm.
want you to be like, I'm a good storyteller regardless. I'll have energy and I'll have stage presence.
Hmm.
The material has come with time, but
Hmm.
I came out being like, I just love being on stage. And
Yeah.
now this is such a new pure form of me that's no script. It's no one else's choreography. This is like 100% me. And if I win, it's 100% me. And if I lose, it's 100% me.
Yeah.
But at least this is the first time that I kind of started, it just changed the way I started thinking. Because I was now looking at everything as, how can this be
Material.
a joke?
Yep.
And even when bad things happen, especially when bad things happen
Yeah.
and or like bad dates or bad experiences, I'm like in the middle of them going, okay, there's something funny here. And I'm so grateful for comedy for doing that for me.
Yeah.
Just made me, I feel like smarter. Like made
That
me
is, it
instead of
really does
passive. Yeah.
like make your brain work a different way. And you notice almost like not just like the humor in little things, but sometimes the beauty in the smallest things, because then you can kind of turn it into humor, especially when it's like something that's so relatable, like things that happen on dates. And
Well, that's what you have such a cool opportunity to test test
yeah,
in a safe space.
yeah,
You know, that there's like there's so many things that I'm like, this is definitely funny, definitely relatable. And then I try it and I don't know if it's just that room,
yeah.
if it's those people in that room, or it's not funny. And that's what sucks is like there's so many jokes that I'm like, I know this is funny. I just need to be in the right like people.
It's so funny. I have a couple like Tom Brady jokes. I mean, I live in Tampa and
Right,
like
of
about like
course.
the Patriots and stuff when he is still there. And I'll do them at like open mic nights down here and it's like haha. And I always think this would kill in Buffalo, New York. But have you it's like or also when you like do like an open mic night set with like just other male comics and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's another thing is like
Yeah.
I have so much female oriented material,
Yeah.
and that's why I've been struggling to test out material for Alana shows because
Hmm.
when she's coming now, it's in 2 days, we're going to Coral Springs, and
Amazing.
and and I'm like, I was gonna do an open mic tonight, but I was like, I know the crowd is gonna be.
I feel very lucky to be in Tampa. Even like I was saying, like all the male comedians, they're all really like super supportive, especially one of
I
like
heard
new
Tampa's a great.
comedians.
I heard it's a great
Oh
scene.
my God, it's amazing. I feel so lucky to have ended up here. Even I mean, I started kind of doing stand up a little bit in Orlando and then I moved here. But yeah, it like welcome with open arms, honestly, because
Orlando,
I
I've heard also is a good scene.
that's where I started taking comedy classes and met Ali Flores. Yeah. It was, but I could imagine that Miami is just a different vibe.
Yeah. And I don't want to even say
Everything has pros and cons to it, everything in
it's
life.
not just the male comics, I'll say that.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
believe
just
it.
it's not.
I heard Austin's popping too.
Austin's off the charts, but to the point where I'm kind of intimidated. I don't think I'm ready. I kind of want to just like build up myself enough so that I can just pop into places and be like, yes, I
Mhm.
have credentials. As opposed to like going there and like the first time I went to New York, the only show I could get on, they were like, oh, you have to bring 10 people. I'm like, I don't know 10 people in New York.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
That's
it's 10
when you
people. And I'm still
pretend
not getting
like
paid. I'm
you're
still
sure
not
like
getting,
these are my imaginary friends.
yeah. They're like, and they had to buy a ticket and buy 2 drinks. And I was like, you're asking me to ask 10 people that I kind of know to spend at least $100
It
each.
sounds like an MLM or like a sorority combined in
I know,
one.
that's so funny. It
Two
is.
red flags. Like just make a bigger red flag.
Comedy, stand-up comedy, or Herbalife? What's the difference?
No, honestly, that's wild. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that.
Yeah,
That is
so that's why I've
crazy.
been kind of intimidated by New York. People are like, you need to go to New York if you want
Hmm.
to make it. And I'm just like, what is making it? That's where I'm kind of
Yeah.
like at right now. It's like I do a lot of things, as you see, and comedy has been like a cool thing to develop as a skill. I
Hmm.
don't know. if stand-up comedy is the thing that I'll end up doing
Hmm.
because I love, I think, entertainment as a whole, and I'll
Yeah.
just keep finding new ways to. I feel, you see, I do a cabaret show every
I was
weekend.
gonna bring that up. Yeah. And like your energy just from the videos and everything. That looks so fun. I try to like every 4 months try to go to Miami. I have like one of my best friend lives there. So I
Yeah,
sent it to her. I was like, Valerie, we need to go to this.
yeah, you got to when you let me know. It's like I didn't know what I was doing when I started there. I was just like dancer,
Story of
and then I
my
had
life.
stand. Yeah, I was like, oh, they don't want to hear my material.
Mhm.
And as a dancer, I had to be kind of clever with, Miami in general, but everybody are so desensitized. You have about 15, 30 seconds before people are enough to get a story and then they're back on their phones. And so
Yeah.
with dance, I can't like do really long. When I first started, I was doing this 3.5 minute dance by myself
Oh my
that
gosh.
was so cool to me. It
Hmm.
was Alice in Wonderland's whole story, and I
Oh,
was taking on each character in a different music style and a different dance style.
that's
It
so
was
cool.
so dope. I was like doing Tweedledee and Tweedledum as this badass hip hop, and then the Cheshire Cat was all sexy. It was an incredible piece. Could not stand at the moon because people were
Yeah.
bored. There's no fire. You're not taking off your clothes. I was like, okay,
No
gotta do
titties? What are we doing here?
exactly. So I was like, all right, I realized they just need energy.
Hmm.
Energy, and that's what I got. I just figured out how to like basically be the master of this room. And I feel so much more confident there than I do in a comedy club
Yeah.
because there's just comedy club feels like judgment. There's
Hmm.
ready to be critical. I mean, people say they're ready to laugh, but it's also like you got to earn their respect. When they come to my restaurant, I tell them from the beginning, I'm like, I'm a silly bitch. I want to have fun, but it's
Yeah.
on you guys. The energy you give us is what we give back to you.
Yeah.
So I stay off your phone. You can post that shit later. Take a video and then put it down. I was like, if I see anybody in here check their story views, I'm gonna go through your hidden album. I'm like, or worse, you're recently deleted. That's where your nudes go to die, you know?
Yeah. I
So
will sit there with your girlfriend. I'm just assuming it's a guy. And we will go through all your texts together on the projector.
yeah, dude, it's a different room. It's more
Mhm.
feminine. There's no men there really. It's just bachelorette parties and birthdays. And
How
so like I just
fun.
feel I know women. I know
Yeah,
women. So
that is
if
so
like
cool.
stand up, I don't know about stand up. I know about like entertainment. I don't
Yeah.
know how long I can do it in that form at 31 almost,
Yeah.
like the time of tutus and crazy outfits. It's not going to be forever. But I'll transition into creative director, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to get off the stage. That would be a very depressing day.
Yeah. No,
I
you
don't
can't. I won't let you.
I just have to keep changing. Like one of my dreams is to do a comedy educational show and go to colleges
Hmm.
or high schools and like talk to women. And I mean, maybe there's nothing that I could tell them that they don't see on TikTok or YouTube, but getting them to laugh together, I think is the point because we all are
Yeah.
educating ourselves in our own shame, right?
Yeah.
But doing it, you don't know what you're going
Hmm.
through as the girl next to you. And like, this is way too much TMI, but
No, I love it.
human sexuality class
Yeah.
when I went to University of Florida. I went for 1 year and I was like, oh, this is not for me.
Hmm.
And I transferred because after New World, it was like a little bubble of 500 people. And then my class had 700.
Wow.
500 people was my entire school. And then my class was
Oh,
700 people. Like
wow.
that one math class, my entire grade was like 12,000
Wow.
at UF. And I was like, this is not for me. But human sexuality class, I had always had a problem with pulling out tampons. They'd get
Yeah.
stuck. They'd
Yeah.
get stuck. And I didn't know what. And I just
Why
dealt with
don't
it.
we talk about this?
Right. And then I look on the screen and they're putting up all the different types of hymens. And I was like, oh, that's mine. It was a septated hymen. And I had no idea. I don't
Yeah.
have sisters. I didn't tell my
Yeah.
mom. And this was
No.
something I learned in a college class on my own. And if
Hmm.
that was funny, that's what I think about. I'm like, if that was funny and there was, a live show that had entertainment, education, and also just release of shame with women in
Yeah.
college, the worst time to be a woman, one of,
Oh, yeah.
that's just kind of like what I feel like I would rather use my comedy for purpose, not just for attention, entertainment, and fame. I don't really
Yeah.
care. Stuff.
No.
That's why I would if I wanted a million followers, I would have sexualized my body
Yeah.
years, but
Mm-hmm.
that's my line for
Yeah.
me. I want people to respect that brain and the joy and the little sexy bits, but
It's
not be
funny that you say that too, because that was like a big point. One of the reasons why I wanted to be anonymous for so long is because like a lot of women just you grow up feeling so judged and people don't like look deeper into you and like I just wanted people to be like she's funny and I'm like yeah I am.
we were debating this just now. My God, I was wearing the outfit that I was gonna wear for Alana, and he's like, I don't know if you should be dressing the way you normally dress or
Mhm,
play it down because every woman in comedy I see that's successful,
mhm,
plays it down, leather jacket, jeans.
mhm.
And I was like, fair, but how many comedians on Netflix have my personality?
Yeah,
I've never
it's
seen
true.
there's
And I
no high
think being true
comic.
to yourself too is what you really see, especially in female comedy. I mean, definitely with men, but I think especially now with female comics, like when they're more authentic to themselves, is you
Yeah,
just people get it. People can pick up on it.
I think so too. I mean, if you're wearing something that wears you,
Mhm.
don't do it. If
Yeah.
that's like I am putting this on so that no, I love that's why clothes for me have always been a form of expression
Yep.
and I I love clothes for their conversation.
Hmm.
They stimulate conversation. The worst thing you could do to me actually at UF one night I went out. I bought a shirt from the Forever 21 and in the only Forever 21 for miles. And
Yeah.
I went out one night and seven other girls were wearing my shirt. And I go, I'm transferring. I'm done with this place. My
I love it.
individuality means everything to me.
Hmm.
And there's no goodwill here. So I'm leaving.
Yeah. No, that's not crazy at all. I remember for my prom dress, my senior year of high school, the place I got it from, I like made sure and like they promised me they wouldn't let another girl from my high school buy that dress.
That's smart. I went all the way to
Yeah.
Orlando's like outlet mall to go get my prom dress too, because I was
Yeah.
like, fucking way.
You
Yeah,
know,
I need to be, I'm obsessed with my individuality. Like that is, I'm an Aries and an only
I
child.
love
So
it.
I am like, this is, and
I
like,
vibe so hard with Aries. Oh my God. I like look back at like all like my favorite people of the past and they're always like hard Aries
a
somewhere in their
Gemini,
chart. I'm
you
a
a Gemini,
Taurus.
Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm
April
a
or
Taurus,
May?
Capricorn, Virgo.
You're all Earth girl?
Yeah. That's why
Crazy.
I told you I was like I'm dressed like a dirty hippie right now. No,
You're
yeah,
like,
I
that's why you're like, I created an entire career where I don't have to leave the house.
100%
Yeah.
along with sewing. Yeah.
Nice. You don't have to leave. They love to be cozy.
I know. I was gonna lay in my backyard all day with my dogs. That's all I want to do.
Absolutely. And me, I'm like, I hate being at home. Being
Yeah.
at home gives me anxiety. I need to be around people all the time.
Hmm.
So being in a relationship is changing me. My boyfriend, because I had my show the other day and we were gonna go out dancing, and I was like,
Hmm.
can you just like go home? And he's like, what have I done to you?
Isn't that so nice though when like someone makes you feel like home? I think that's the best way I can put it. It's not like they change you. They make you feel like home wherever you are. And that's wow, that's so heartfelt for this podcast.
Yeah, really. I mean, I know so much of the memes and everything about just the strife of women. I identified it with it
Yeah,
so much. That's why I've been following it for so long,
I
was because
love that.
three
I s-
years of being in Miami, single,
Mhm.
like almost 4 years, and just so like not just single, like just I couldn't understand why I wasn't even catching like I didn't even date a guy for like a month for
Yeah.
3 years. Not even second date or third date ever. And I mean, it could drive you crazy unless you
Oh
see
yeah.
that other people, it's just it's an epidemic. It's not just
Yeah.
you.
And
It's
that's what inspired me for my page was it was after a breakup and there was like these 4 years where it was almost five before I met my husband and I was like yeah just going on like one date maybe a second and I was looking at how men date and how people talk about it on the internet and then how women date and like they get shamed talking about it like that way on the internet. So it's funny because you started out posting or talking about the poems that the men were sending to you, I was screenshotting ridiculous things guys were saying to me because like I didn't date for 4 years before that. I was in a relationship. And I started to, and I'm like, why are they what? Like just the things they would say, they were ridiculous.
Oh, men now without the, I mean, men have always catcalled, but now
Yes.
when they don't have the shame of having their face be seen, that they can hide,
Hmm.
they just don't give a fuck. Because if you
Mm-mm.
see a man on a dating app, they're shooting their shot, they're just trying everything. They're
Hmm.
basically conducting science experiments on what variables will, I mean, if I open with this message, if I try, I'll try
Yeah.
this 100 times and then seeing what sticks. And we're on the other end of like, this is traumatic.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this girl was telling me how she outsourced the worst part of running her OnlyFans is
Yeah.
talking to men
Oh, I know so many girls who do that. And I know so many, not so many, I know a good amount of guys
who are
who
writing
who
as
are
the girl.
writing. Yep.
I mean, I'm all for women, make your money all the way you can.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's a little bit challenging to be not in that category and still all exist in the same space,
Hmm.
because I do think that like I don't think men are evolved enough to be able to distinguish between the girls they talk to like that and then your female coworkers.
Yeah.
And I think
There's no filter.
no, there isn't.
Mm-mm.
And I've seen like more than I don't know if I just wasn't around it as much because I was younger, but I just feel like I'm hearing more horrible things.
Yeah,
Like,
I think too, it's like, people feel more comfortable saying things from behind a computer screen or behind their phone. And so once they do that so much, when you're in person and it comes out and you're like, what? Like, what was just said to me?
and I get like, and I have so much sass and personality, but
Yeah,
when someone says something to me in
yeah,
person, I just freeze,
yeah.
completely freeze, and
Same.
I just shut down. I remember when I just moved to Miami, I had like three experiences back to back where I was trying to be a realtor for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I should get a real job.
Cosplayed as a realtor for a week.
Yeah, I was like, my friend, my one of my friend's mom was like, I have a guy who can help you, whatever. I sat with him in a meeting. It was a Saturday, which was already sketchy.
Hmm.
Saturday in his office, no one's around. And he monologued at me for like 45 minutes, not a breath, not a change, not asking me a one thing. And I'm like, isn't this an interview?
Yeah.
And then at the end of 45 minutes, he goes, do you have any questions? Oh, he says, I said to him, do you have any questions for me? Like, is there anything you want to know? And he
Yeah.
goes, yeah, when was the last time you had multiple orgasms? Out of I just was like, what? Like I just couldn't even speak. And I like
It's not
left
real.
office and whatever. And then the other day I was at a comedy show with my boyfriend and that guy was there. And I
Mm.
same feeling, just froze. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, that guy is an asshole. And also when I was going to teach at a dance studio
Yeah.
thing, I was trying to apply for this job. And the guy I said to him, like, he's like, okay, you can start Monday. And I was like, don't you need to like see me dance or something? And he's like, only if
Yeah.
it's your clothes. And I'm like, you want
It's
me to
not
teach
okay.
children here, correct? Like, yeah, I mean, they just empowered. They can just say crazy shit. And
And I
it's
bet in Miami too it is because, I really, I mean, everyone would agree with this that money makes people feel like they can say even more of what they want. And clearly there's a ton of money in Miami.
it's true. Money, and then that's also a whole thing was that how docile women are here. A lot
Hmm.
of them. I always joke, I've been trying to write a TV show since Alana
Oh,
basically told me, if you write something, I will help you.
oh
And I
my
was like,
God.
what an
You're like,
incredible.
okay, now I have to write a TV show.
And I'm trying.
Yeah.
Basically, the concept is just about a woman trying to be known for her mind in Miami, which is,
Ooh,
trying to get to 1,million followers on Instagram without showing your ass, not an easy task.
no, especially
Um,
with this algorithm nowadays.
Correct. So yeah, I mean, this city sometimes feels very like, even when I'm not trying to make fun of those women because I don't want to shame them and I
Yeah.
understand them, but I also resent them for a lot of things because I'm
Yeah.
just like, you're making, it's one thing to socially compare on Instagram. In
Hmm.
Miami, it's in my fucking face.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go is a woman that I'm like, oh my God. But at the same time, like when I go to the med spa
Yeah.
and I'm just going in for these little Botox right here.
Right. Yeah.
Don't sell me on anything else.
I just got my lip flip yesterday and that was it. I'm
And
like,
that's
women,
it.
and I'm out.
That's it. Nothing else. They're like, don't you just want a little bit of refreshing? I'm like, what is
Mm-mm.
refreshing? I am not a fucking soda. I don't give me that. But it's so tempting because everyone in the
Yeah.
office looks like perfection.
Yeah.
Perfection in person is a scary thing to see
It is.
because perfection on Instagram is one thing, but you're like, okay, but people don't really look like that. They
Mm-hmm.
fucking here,
Yeah.
and it is overwhelming.
Oh yeah,
But
no, if you really want to see like the prettiest people ever, go to a med spa.
no.
Go to a
And
high-rated med spa in Florida. And everyone's just so beautiful. And you're like, oh my God, am I gonna leave here like that? And then you spend $4,000 and you're like, I don't look. No, I never did that. I'm kidding.
oof, I I'm constantly in that battle of trying to
Yeah.
understand if I should, if I shouldn't. But what was I gonna
Well,
tell you?
via Zoom, you have great skin. I can tell you
Oh,
that.
I have one little guy because I ate. Apparently, listen to this. I went to my gynecologist and she
You're
was
going
like,
to hurt.
I think I know why you're breaking out. And I'm like, what? And she goes, vegetables. And I'm like,
Excuse me?
excuse me? She's like, do you eat a lot of eggplant, tomatoes, red peppers? I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
nightshade
yep,
vegetables have lectin in them and they
yep.
cause breakouts. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding
They
me?
also cause bloating.
I'm like, vegetables?
I
Isn't
just
that
I learned that when did I didn't know the acne part, but I learned the like bloating and everything like a few months ago.
Or inflammation? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit,
I'm like,
bro.
we are taught to eat our vegetables, excuse me, and then eggplants coming back to
My
like,
grandpa is 97 years old and he
oh,
exclusively eats what you would playground being traded between kindergartners. Like
oh my God.
doesn't drink water,
Yeah.
doesn't want to. He doesn't eat vegetables. He literally has like hamburger helper and Oreos and whatever, and he's 97 years old.
Oh
So
my God. My grandpa's about to be 96 and I think it was like
wow.
I think like 5 or 6 years ago he said something about like, oh, I read something on, why you shouldn't eat white bread. I might change to wheat. And we are all like, why?
Mm.
Like, like,
That's so funny at 90.
yeah. And then he decided not to. I mean, we all knew he wasn't going to. We were like, you're fine. And he was fine and he is fine.
Good for him. Good for
Yeah.
him. That we've had these men in our lives so long. It's
I
rare.
know. Yeah, definitely. What's some advice you would have to someone who wants to get into the comedy scene? Maybe something even you wish you could tell yourself when you started.
Mm.
And yes, I do use this podcast for my own benefit of getting my own information.
I think that there is some value in reading more, watching less.
Mhm.
I think that every time I feel like I'm doing well, I watch like I watch a comedian on TikTok and then I'm like, I suck.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have the same kind of joke structure if I even know what joke structure is. So I think there's this comedy Bible and it's so like old school, but it helps you kind of like map out comedy. I think there's somewhat of a formulaic approach to it.
Mhm.
Um,
What's the
and
book called? Do you know?
it's called the Comedy Bible.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna write that down.
What I if
You're
it's
like,
in
I always have it at arm's reach.
I know that would be fucking great. I definitely is it? Oh my God, I do. Look at that. Oh, it's blurred. How do I make it focus on my
Oh, okay, cool.
Comedy Bible by Judy Carter?
Okay. Love
And
that a woman wrote it.
right. And it kind of just helped me. It's like it gives you exercises. And I'm the kind of person that like I loved math in school because there were like an easy way to like plug in a formula and get
Mhm.
an answer as
Yeah.
opposed to like so abstract all the time. So sometimes it just was like I have a lot of premises in
Mhm.
comedy, which would be like this is the beginning of an idea, but I don't know where the joke is, but this is the
Mhm.
concept. I would like just end my notes on my phone, every fucking thought you have,
Yeah.
and come back to them. Don't like there was a joke I remembered today that I was like, oh my God, why did I give up on that? That was so funny. And like sometimes just with time, there some of my best jokes I came up with tags for
Hmm. I
years
love that.
later, that it was missing one little element.
Hmm.
And then I found it. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I remember, but just not like discarding anything.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's about reps and getting up as much as you can
Hmm.
and testing jokes in settings that aren't comedy. At
Okay.
family dinners, hanging out with friends. I kind of like slip material into just conversation and
Yeah.
the reason for it is I have a problem with being a little too performative.
Yeah.
I'm on stage and my body goes, theater time.
Time to do
And
the Charleston.
exactly. And there's so much of comedy that's just raw and unauthentic. And
Mhm.
advice that I can give is the advice I still can't take myself. I'm working on it, but being in love with the bomb, that is so hard for me. And
Okay.
you have to like love it. You have to kind of
Yeah.
get it. And only men, I feel like men can in a way that like
Hmm.
men love being like roasted and like I think life is just so good for them sometimes that like
Yeah.
to get off on like, men who love getting shit on, literally, figuratively.
Yeah, literally. There's a market for that.
It is. They enjoy it because they're like, fuck you. I don't care what you think. I'm gonna
Yeah.
continue bombing. Women, it's harder for us to do that. I
Yeah.
think we have way too much insecurity. And I think that men, sorry, I think that women are less delusional than men in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
the delusion that men have allow them to to get on stage and do comedy much more than women do.
Yeah.
If women were half as delusional, there would be more female comedians because doing stand-up takes a little bit of delusion.
It
And
does. Oh, 100%.
it's like a good balance between self-awareness and
Hmm.
delusion. There
Yeah,
are
I
times
love that. It's so true.
you have to have both because the men that are completely delusional and I've seen men in Miami just go up and do the same bad 5-minute set for years.
Over and over again.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you think is gonna change,
Also, do they have friends?
Right,
I always
right.
think that. I'm like, and like my husband, he's so supportive and he always comes to like my sets and stuff with me. And like he'll be like, maybe you should try it like this or do this. And it's like, do they not have people or are their friends scared of them? Like, what is it?
Their
Like
friends are also
delusional.
and doing the comedy with them and or they don't invite real people because they don't have
They're
girlfriends.
not going to clubs in New York that are making them find 10 people just to go to it. I have one more question for you, Amber. What is something that you have stopped faking that's made your life better? You're like, where do I begin?
Man, I think it's gonna be a sexual answer, but not in the same way. I think I'm a performer throughout my life. And so,
Lucky boyfriend.
right. Well, they weren't boyfriends, so
Yeah.
that's the
Oh,
problem.
okay.
Is
Hmm.
that they were whoever. And I
Yeah.
felt the need to what I'm learning through this relationship is I am not as kinky as I thought I was. I'm anything actually.
Yeah.
Um, for the first time, I have somebody who I don't need to perform for,
Hmm.
who I don't need to give energy. I have
Can be
always
yourself.
I can just be and I've always kind of felt that people kept me around for the value that I bring to them. And that, like, people always, my dance classes or whatever, I bring all this good energy. And I felt like I had to always be on
Hmm.
for people to want to be around me. And having this relationship where I can just kind of, I'm learning that I actually have a lot more feminine energy than I realized. I'm always just trying to be big, bold, in charge
Yeah.
and especially in sexually performing being like I'm this I'm not that
Yeah.
much just kind of like being receiving and not giving so it's part of the performance was faking
Yeah.
this I need to be in this dominant
Yeah.
like it's really not so much me I am simpler than I thought. I'm just simple.
I love that. And it kind of reminds me we were talking about earlier how when you meet someone who gives you that like feeling of just home and safety and you learn so much about yourself
I am
through
learning
that.
tons of just how much I was really putting on. And I can feel it now, the switch of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not just like being myself. I'm giving a little bit more extra because I'm trying to 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 be the coolest or the most interesting or to
Hmm.
get the most not attention, but to be the life of the party all the time.
Yeah.
That's because that's what I was. That's what I was. My job was literally
You
my
literally, yeah.
my responsibility. And now it's so funny whenever we joke, whenever we smoke or do like smoke weed,
Yeah.
our personalities switch and he
That's
becomes
so
the like
funny.
super outgoing and I just like really quiet. And it's funny because I get to just kind of receive and enjoy and
Yeah.
just kind of get the feeling of the goodness that I've been projecting and that and just kind of to get to allow myself to feel it as well and not have to depend my value doesn't depend on it with people.
I love that.
How'd
Isn't
I do?
it? It's kind of nice, I feel like that's things that hit you when you turn 30. That's what I mean, that was my experience. I'm only 31, so like
You're a year ahead of me.
but it
Yeah, it's
doesn't it gets even better in my
yeah, it is.
opinion.
I mean, right now I am very, very happy. I have like the man, but also this job that I'm making with the doing the commercials that I'm making.
Yeah.
I'm like getting to be that boss and be in charge of like what I'm making that is me.
Yeah.
Um, and then also to have both the balance of having a great man who allows me to be feminine and then have a job where I can sit in that masculine energy and like make shit happen for myself and realizing that I'm a combination of both. And it's just about what kind of people allow me to be in that space, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. And I seriously, if you ever want to come to Tampa and like do some open mic nights, we're
Yeah.
gonna be moved into the new house soon. You're
Hey,
more than welcome to
I
crash.
would love
That would be so fun.
I would love to. I have only had bad experiences in Tampa, so we need to
Yeah.
correct.
Oh yeah. And like I'm not as crazy and wild as I used to be. So they're usually pretty fun and chill experiences.
Yeah.
I'll find us a boat somehow.
Yeah, don't need crazy. I just want good people and good
Yes.
energy. Yeah.
Oh, and good food.
It's
Great food
sides.
here.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yes.
I have heard, side splitters is right.
Yes,
Side.
that is from
That's
the
what.
house I'm living sitting in right now. That is 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, I need to get there. It's one of my goals. I think that I can build myself up a little bit more and then just do these. That's the problem is just the weekends are when I have
Yes.
my cabaret. It's hard to give up that
Hmm.
do it. But to get to the next level, and I like Florida people. People are like, you need to go to New York and Texas and LA. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm Floridians. I
Yeah.
know.
I know us. Born and bred. Not me, but I feel like I've been here long enough. I converted. I hated the snow. So
I
I
can't
was
imagine you in New York.
no, I lived in the city for a year for school, but I grew up like close to Buffalo and it was so cold. And I mean the summers were beautiful, but I needed the beautiful weather year
When are you
round.
gonna post your own stand-up clip?
Oh my gosh. Well, right now a lot of them aren't they're not like recording at the places here, but I gotta make sure I go on nights they're recording. So I'm excited. Right now we've been just chaotic with moving and everything. So I'm hoping in
The
two
thing is
weeks
just getting
to
to
get my
film every time you're on stage and
yeah.
watch your clips. I watch my clips
A
all
lot
the
of places don't let you. Isn't that crazy? At least
Really?
around here. Yeah.
Yourself?
Mm-hmm. No
That's wild.
weird.
That is
I
not.
know.
Well, you guys have real clubs. We don't. We have like
Yeah.
bars. It's a
Yeah.
difference.
And
But
that's what I love too, like with the there's a place I go to in Ybor and it's called The Gimmick and I really, really like it. It's fun. It's like just a comedy club. There's not even a bar in there. It's BYOB.
that's
It's
nice.
yeah, and that's like the place I feel like the most comfortable. It reminds me of hometown because it just looks like this, I don't know, like your friend's basement of like the house where like the parents would like let you drink in the basement, but they had to take the keys. Like that's the vibe you get there, and I love it. I brought my parents actually once.
So they've seen your comedy.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, mine
yeah.
too. I was gonna say that even if you can't record yourself video, audio.
Audio. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to record the audio because you can just see where the laughter is, where you
Yeah.
could have waited a little bit longer.
That's good
And
advice. Yeah. Thank
audio
you.
is audio tells you, and then you don't judge yourself as much because you're not
Yeah.
watching a physical body.
That is
I
true.
hold
Oh
my
my
hand up and
gosh.
I'm instead of criticizing my jokes, I'm like, oh, my arms look so.
I know. Why am I standing like that? That's usually me half the time. Why is my face like that? Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I was so glad to finally talk to you. I need to go out to Miami soon, see your show, but just more importantly, hang out. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
have ideas that I feel like we could collab on.
take over the
So
world. I
yeah.
love it. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Tune in next week for an all new episode of Stop Faking It. Thank you. Bye.